So what's going on guys, Kate is here and welcome back to a brand new video. For today I will show you the best Arcanist PvP build in Lost Ark. So in this guide I will show you what abilities and awakening skill you want to get. Then I will explain what are the best skill rotations to use for 1v1 and 3v3 arenas. And then lastly I will show you the best gameplay and even which stats you need to allocate for PvP, so you would be able to get the best results and highest damage possible and much more. So if this sounds interesting to you, then let's get right into it. So Arcanist is a mage class that uses dark magic cards. She has RNG mechanics in her identity skill, which I will explain later in the video. This is definitely not an easy class to pick up and play, but if you know how to use it to your best advantage, then you will be able to do crazy amount of damage. In PvP, this class is very strong, because she has really good zooming and catching skills. So if you're looking for the best and highest damage 1v1 and 3v3 Arcanist PvP build, then this is the one for you. Okay, so now let's move over to the build itself, and these are the skills you want to have. So for the first ability we have the Dark Resurrection, and we want to use 10 levels to select the Mind Enhancement, Intense card and Fear of Death. Then for the second ability we have the Unlimited Shuffle, and we use 10 more levels to unlock the Quick Preparation, Infinite Lightning and Predicted Death. Then for the next one we have the Celestial Rain, and we use once again 10 levels to select the Vital Point Strike, Enhanced Strike and Torrent. Then for the fourth ability we have the Stream of Edge, and we want to use 10 levels to unlock the Increased card, Thunder Stream and Perfect Stream. Then for the next one we have the Call of Destiny, and we use 10 more levels to select the Nimble Movement, Dark Destiny and Concentration of Destiny. So then for one of the last abilities we have the Spiral Edge, and we use 10 levels to unlock the Excellent Mobility, Tenacity and Quick Pace. Then for the seventh ability we have the Dancing of the Spine Flower, and we use 10 more levels to select the Fatal Flower, Night Bloomer and Fatal Thorn. And then for the last and final ability we have the Scratch Dealer, and we use our last 4 levels to unlock the Excellent Mobility. Then for your awakening skill you want to get the Prismatic Mirror, and for your combat stats you want to have 1 crit, 249 domination and 750 swiftness. Okay, so then moving over to the gameplay, and if you have played this class while leveling, then you will be very familiar with the skills. So I will just try to give you a short description. So then for the first ability we have the Dark Resurrection, and this ability will throw cards that summon a demon, which will attack enemies and fear them for up to 3 seconds. And on top of that, this skill will no longer jump, but instead it uses a quick attack and inflicts poison damage. Then for the next ability we have the Unlimited Shuffle, and this skill will throw a stack of cards that do damage to the enemies for over 6 times, and then the last hit will launch the enemy in the air. Then for the next skill we have the Celestial Rain, and this skill will rain down a bunch of cards that do damage, and when the enemies get hit, they will be slammed on the ground and receive stagger. Then for the next ability we have the Stream of Edge, and this skill will open 2 portals that will attack all enemies in AoE range. And when you activate this skill it will hit the target 4 times with a lightning as well. Then the next ability is Call of Destiny, and the skill will throw a card that does damage and launches enemies in the air. When we use this ability it will increase our attack speed and outgoing damage for 15% for 3 seconds. Then moving over to the next one, which is called the Spiral Edge, and this skill will leap your character 7 meters forwards while throwing a card that does bunch of damage. This skill will give us a quick movement speed as well, and overall it is a great mobility tool to escape or get into fights. Then for one of the last abilities we have the Dancing of the Spine Flower, and this skill will throw a bunch of cards, and you will be able to teleport 11 meters towards the targeted location. And then when you use it again it will teleport you to your original location. And then on top of that, those bunch of cards that we throw will do damage up to 6 times, and then the last card will do 4 times more damage than the previous ones. Then for the last normal ability we have the Scratch Dealer, and this will move our character 7 meters and deal damage. We can use the skill again to strike downwards and deal damage again. Overall this is a quick and easy mobility skill. And then last but not the least, for your awakening skill we have the Prismatic Mirror, that summons a stack of huge cards that will do damage to the targeted location. Then afterwards you get to use smaller cards that will do big damage as well. And then lastly the big cards will come together and then explode, dealing huge damage and giving you 2 free identity cards. Okay, so then let's take a closer look at your best skill rotation, and I will explain why we use the skills that we do and in which specific order. So Arcanist uses cards as her normal attacks, and when she does damage and fills her identity meter, she will draw cards from her deck, and depending on what type of card she uses, she will get unique buffs for a short amount of time. So Arcanist in general has 3 types of skills. Yellow skills will fill your identity meter a lot quicker, so you get to use your cards a lot more often. Then the blue skills will stack on the enemies, which can stack up to 4 times, and you will usually want to use them, so then afterwards you can use the red skills and do big damage. And then lastly we of course have the red skills. These are your main damage dealers. So the red skills will remove the stacks that you got from the blue skills, and depending on your stacks they will do huge amount of damage. So then let's take a closer look at the top 2 best rotations. But of course, like always in PvP, most skill placement will depend on each fight differently. So then the first rotation is to first of all start the fight with the Unlimited Shuffle, then the Dark Resurrection, then Scratch Dealer, then Dancing of the Spine Flower, and then finish it off with the Stream of Edge. And then for the second combo, we first of all start the fight with the Spiral Edge, then the Celestial Rain, then Call of the Destiny, then Scratch Dealer, and then we finish it off with the Unlimited Shuffle. So let's see what we did in this rotation. We started with the Unlimited Shuffle because this is an easy spell that if you land your shot, you will be able to launch the enemy in the air. So then afterwards we use the Dark Resurrection, which will increase our damage by 25%. And summon a demon that will poison the enemy. Then we use the Scratch Dealer to catch up to the enemy and deal damage again. Then right after we use the Dancing of the Spine Flower, which will increase our crit rate damage up to 75%. And then lastly we finish it off with the Stream of Edge, that will do big AoE damage. The Arcanist overall is really good at catching enemies and then doing bunch of damage. So that's why we don't want to always launch the enemies in the air, but we can easily stagger them, or wait for our teammates to stun them and then we do big damage. And then for the second rotation, we start with the Spiral Edge, which is a simple mobility spell to catch up to the enemy. So then right after we use the Celestial Rain and stagger the enemy while receiving 25% outgoing damage buff. Then we use the Call of Destiny to launch the enemy in the air. Then we use the Scratch Dealer to do damage, and then lastly we finish it off with the Unlimited Shuffle, which is a big AoE skill. So overall this second rotation is meant more for staggering the enemies, and then allowing your teammates to finish them off. Like I said, these rotations are the best, but most skills and how you use them will depend on your enemies and what they do. So learn what each ability does, and with time you won't have to follow just few rotations, but you will be able to use skills depending on the fight. And then lastly, as for using our identity skill, this is a bit more complicated, but in a short summary, you want to read each card's description, and depending on which one you get, you want to use it in different times. Usually what I do is I use the Fortune card to reset the Awakening for the second time. Then for the Skull, Twisted Fate and Emperor card, you want to use them right after you activate the Dark Resurrection. And then lastly for the other cards, I recommend to use them right away, whenever you draw a card, because this build uses a lot of yellow skills, so you will get to use 3 to 4 cards in each rotation. So for you not to block the previous good cards, you want to use them as soon as possible. So now in my last and final conclusions for this build, remember that this class is very strong, because she has really good zoning and catching skills. So you don't have to always follow up your enemies with engages and damage, but a lot of times you can just leave your enemies to your teammates. Then as well, few of your abilities are charging skills, so I would always recommend to never just quickly use one skill and then move over to the next one, but instead you want to hold most of your abilities to the maximum, or the highest damage possible, but only of course if the enemy is on the ground or in the air. And then lastly, remember that your abilities have very good stagger, so you should be stunning your enemies 24/7. So with that said, I really do appreciate everyone for watching guys, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any suggestions, feedback or other good Lost Ark PvP builds that you would like to see in the next video, then feel free to leave your comments in the comment section down below. And while you're doing that, please click like, subscribe and enable that notification bell, so this way you could support the channel and you wouldn't miss any more amazing content from me. With all this said, you have an amazing day and I will see you in my next video, so take it easy, peace.
Yo, I ain't here